Introduce. My name is Widya Octafitriani, Accounting Class 23A NPM 234120022. In this video I will explain the material about cost price of co-products and byproducts. Combined product cost refers to the cost incurred to produce two or more main products simultaneously from one production process. For example, from a single oil refining process, products such as petrol, diesel, and kerosene can be produced. Characteristics. Shared products produced simultaneously from a single production run. Each product has a significant selling point, requires a cost allocation method to distribute shared costs to each product. Imagine a factory that processes crude oil. From this processing process, petrol, diesel, and lubricating oil can be produced simultaneously. These are called co-products. Its main characteristics are produced at the same time. These products automatically come together from the same production process. We cannot make one without making the other. Everything matters. Each product produced has a fairly high selling value and is the main purpose of the production activity. The company wants to produce everything. Need cost sharing. Since production costs are incurred to produce everything at once, we need a special way to allocate the total production costs to each of these joint products. The goal is to know how much it actually costs to make each type of product. Examples of co-products. Crude oil processing produces petrol, diesel, and lubricating oil. Log cutting produces different types of wood sizes and qualities. Milk processing produces butter, cheese, and whey. 2. Byproduct. Produced alongside the main product, but not the main purpose of the production process. Has a lower selling value compared to the main product. Has no significant effect on the costing of the main product. Now, imagine a wood processing plant again. When cutting wood into various sizes, there is bound to be sawdust produced as well. This sawdust is an example of a byproduct. Its main characteristics are co-produced. It arises as an ancillary result of the manufacturing process of the main product. It is not the main purpose of production. Lower value. The selling price of byproducts is usually much lower than that of the main product. Less influence on main costs. The costs incurred to produce byproducts are not heavily factored into determining the cost of making the main product. The main focus of costs remains on the main product. Examples of byproducts: sawdust from wood processing, soybean hulls from making tofu and tempeh, methane gas from waste processing. When we produce multiple products at once from a single process, co-product, we need a fair way to apportion the total production costs incurred to each of those products. There are several commonly used methods. Here's an explanation. 1. Relative selling value method. Imagine again an oil factory that produces petrol, diesel, and lubricating oil. The relative selling value method works by looking at how much each of these products sold for when they were first separated from the production process. The idea is simple. The product that has a higher selling price is considered to have influenced a larger portion of the production cost. How to do this? We first calculate the total selling value of all products together when they are separated. Then we find out the proportion percentage of each product's selling value to the total selling value. It is this proportion that we use to divide the total production cost. 2. Physical unit method. The physical unit method focuses more on how many units, e.g. liters, kilograms, fruit, of each co-product were successfully produced. The idea is simple. Each unit of product is considered to absorb the same portion of production costs. How it works? We calculate the total units produced from all the co-products. Then we divide the total production cost by these total units to get the cost per unit. Finally, we multiply this cost per unit by the number of units of each product to get the cost allocation. 3. Average cost per unit method. This method is the simplest way to divide shared costs. The idea is very straightforward. All are considered equal. We don't care what kind of product it is or what the selling price is. Every unit of product produced is considered to have the same allotment of cost. How to do it? We first calculate the total units of all joint products produced. Then we divide the total production cost by this total number of units. Then we divide the total production cost by this total number of units. The result is the cost per unit. Now this cost per unit is then multiplied by the number of units of each product to get the cost allocation. 4. Weighted average method. This method is a little more sophisticated than the average per unit method. The idea is, not all are equally important. We give different weights to each type of product based on certain factors, such as size, volume, or estimated selling value. Products that are considered heavier or more valuable will get a larger cost allocation. How to do it? Determine the weighting factor for each type of product, for example. If it is based on volume, then the volume becomes the weight. Calculate the total weight of all products. Calculate the proportion of each product's weight to the total weight. Multiply the proportion of each product's weight to the total production cost to get the cost allocation. Cost allocation methods of byproducts. Since byproducts are not the main purpose of production and are usually not of great value, the way we record their costs is different from that of main products. Here are two common methods used. 1. No-cost method. This method is the simplest and is often used when the value of byproducts is really small and insignificant. The idea is, no need to calculate special costs. We don't need to bother calculating how much production costs fall to the byproducts. We just focus on how much money we get from its sales. Record sales proceeds. The money from the sale of this side product will be directly considered as a deduction from the production cost of the main product or recorded as other income. 2. Cost of goods method. Apportioning costs to main and side products. This method is more complicated and seeks to charge a portion of production costs not only to the main product, but also to the side products. The idea is, side products also influence costs. Although not the main purpose, byproducts are still produced from the same production process, so they are considered to be using resources and incurring costs. Need a way to share costs. We need a certain way to divide the total production cost between the main product and the byproducts. Usually, this division is based on relative selling value or physical units, similar to the co-product allocation method, but with an emphasis on the lower value of byproducts. Thanks for listening.